Hello, everybody. It's Mjolnir Man, but you can call me Austin. And kind of a treat here since I haven't made a video in like 2 months, and I haven't made any political commentary since June. I'd like to go over what I expect and to see, and what I expect the outcome to be, and so on and so forth with the upcoming 2020 election season. And this video is kind of in preparation for the presidential debate we're headed towards later in the month, and kind of just a place marker for kind of where I stand on the issues and what I would expect to see in the next, 2 months or so. So I do want to approach this video from a leftist perspective because I am a leftist, and I feel like most of my viewership is now. It either seems to be libertarians or leftists. Libertarian would probably be from my earlier days on YouTube when I was an active libertarian, but since I had turned to leftism, I noticed I get a lot more leftists and liberals, but you know, gotta love them sometimes. Just kidding. So the big issue with leftists, I think there's a common misconception with Trump supporters. Either they're just totally stupid and inept, or it's just general confusion. So they always say, well, leftists are just Biden shills. They support Biden, even though they're supposed to be socialists and whatnot. And that's actually a very big misconception. But for one, the people who do plan to vote for Biden, um, I wouldn't call it support on anything more than just a technical level of what you crossed on the ballot. Really, when you get into the nuances of this, it's more like they settled for Biden, because it's also a misconception in itself. Because the issue is really that there's been a gigantic rift in the leftist community all over the place ever since Joe Biden won the DNC, basically, and Bernie Sanders stepped down and discontinued his basically his election campaign, and held that conference with Joe Biden over Zoom, was it, or something like that. Um, and that's even a topic that I've been struggling with myself, because really, when you're a leftist and you're given this ultimatum, it's almost like you're compromising your values and voting for someone you don't like. Um, Either that or you vote for a third party candidate. And if you want me to be totally honest, I don't think it's necessarily stealing votes away from someone, but I think you can make that case when it's like a pretty pivotal election cycle. Like, either way, now that I think about it, I don't think anything would have been too different had Hillary Clinton won the election. Um, so I think in that aspect, voting third party wouldn't have mattered. But now, I think it's a very important time. Now, maybe not for like libertarians or free market capitalists, because whether whether the odd chance of Joe Jorgensen winning an election, or Trump, or Joe Biden, they all three pretty much believe in a free market economy. Um, but for leftists, there's a lot to lose. And I even think for libertarians too. Because Trump really is an American wannabe dictator. Um, and that's really the motivator for leftists in the 2020 election, is we need to get Donald Trump way out from the White House. Um, the guy's a hateful guy, and when he's not being hateful, he just sounds like a freaking buffoon. I mean, I heard audio last night of, I think it was a press meeting, where he's talking about how all the vile anarchists use soup cans in place of bricks. Um, just crackpot conspiracy theories with no basis in reality. But here's the problem, right? Because 2 months ago, right, at the height of the George Floyd incident and Black Lives Matter was gaining traction, it seemed everything, if Biden could capitalize on the chance that it would go his way. He had like a 20 to 25% lead ahead of Trump. But now we're seeing that that's leveled out, and he's only got something like a 2% chance over Trump. They project Trump at like 49%. They project Biden at 51%. Even if it is a close election, which I predicted it would be a very close election, I don't think this is going to be some type of landslide outcome. I think that this election, whoever wins, it'll be by just a couple percentage points. Just a few electoral votes. And to be quite honest with you, I think it'll still look reasonably the same as my last election electoral map that I made back in July, which I think this month I'll probably make an updated version. But the issue is, Biden really hasn't put a clear stance on anything. It's good that he's calling out Trump for being a divisive figure, which he certainly is. I think in 2016, we thought we needed to swing way to the right because we were so fed up with all these disgusting moralist liberals, when really we had a sort of polarized nation that needed a great mender to come. And to be honest with you, I don't think neither Trump nor Hillary would have been able to heal those wounds. I think Biden might have a chance, simply because he's not Trump, and for two, he is coming from a place of, let's kind of reconstruct this mess. Because regardless of what you say, we know what a Trump presidency looks like. In 4 years, and I get that these cards could have happened to anyone, civil unrest, a pandemic, we're set to face an economic crash, basically worse than the Great Depression. Oh joy, like my third freaking economic slowdown in my entire life, and I'm not even 25 yet. But I will focus on the economic crash because that was set to happen anyway. The pandemic sped it up like sevenfold. And then the civil unrest. These two things I feel like a president should be able to manage. A pandemic and a possible, nationwide rioting and civil unrest. Trump has proven he's unable to do that. Trump has proven that he's inept at being able to control some of the most formative things that might come to his plate. I'm not saying I, nor any average Joe off the block, would be able to come up with a solution. But I don't remember the Ferguson protests being nearly as violent and widespread. I don't remember Ebola ravaging the United States. I get they're two different viruses, but there was a while that we were concerned with seeing Ebola coming over shores. So much so that Barack Obama even created a task force within the White House that would manage possible pandemics. And fun fact for you, Trump actually disbanded that, I think, sometime in his first year in office, if not his first month. But here's the challenge I foresee with Joe Biden. And it's the same issue that really plagued, to a certain extent, Hillary, but to a major extent, Donald Trump's campaign in 2016, was the fact that they were writing off the whole, this other person's completely evil and you cannot trust them. And you know Donald Trump's going to be talking about that. And I don't think there was as much merit for Donald Trump to say these things because we never knew what a Hillary Clinton presidency looked like. We knew what when she was Secretary of State. But aside from that, she never took the grand stage of presidency. And really, Trump kind of lucked out, I think, in that regard because either the country was just tired of Democrats or, which I think is the case, the country just didn't trust Hillary Clinton. Down in southern Missouri, where some of my family lives, I remember they were all talking about, oh man, we've been lifelong Democrats, but I don't know about that Hillary Clinton. And that really led the way for, I think, Trump to steal the show. I think there's more merit. I feel like Biden has a shot. I feel like Biden, 50% of his entire rhetoric crafted by his staffers could just be on the fact that Trump's just a divisive figure who's, widened the divide even more. And then like 10% or 15% could be like Trump's failures and Trump killing certain government agencies or certain benefits, and the rest could be the policy he wants to put forth. And I don't think, you would have to be a complete moron to blow a chance with Trump this election cycle. Because what Trump's promising is completely unrealistic because, for one, the president doesn't even control the economy, but for some reason people think the president controls the economy. And for two, some of his promises on his re-election are so vague that they're empty. I'll give you a couple snapshots. So Trump has promised that he's going to create 10 million jobs in 10 months. Okay, not going to happen. He's promised to bring over 1 million manufacturing jobs from the Chinese mainland back to the U.S. Those jobs are gone for good. And I get it. Every president says that. That's probably just a flat white lie. But we'll see if he's prompted on that, if Biden pushes on him on that. But I think, given the utter stupidity of his speeches, just the utter windbaggery of his press conferences, his total disregard for American safety, whether it was back in 2017 where he was just going all out with Kim Jong-un, whether or not he was going to not kind of take a peaceful approach to the rioting, or whether or not he was going to let a pandemic ravage the nation. I mean, what can I say? What else can I say? He's just a buffoon. He's totally mismanaged the United States. It's in more disarray than it was in 2016. I'd rather go back to when it was just a quote-unquote culture war. Now it's a full-on war, almost. I mean, I hate to be so reactionary, but I could fully see some type of civil war happening. Um, Definitely, not the South versus the North again, because, what issue is there left that the North and South would disagree on? More so like leftists rising up or some group rising up. The divide's going to push a more extreme group to rise up. And, we already see like a ground zero for that kind of stuff in Portland, where you have like the Proud Boys. And no, I'm not wearing a fucking Hawaiian shirt because I'm a Proud Boy. I've been wearing these all my life, and I'm not going to start because some right wing dipshit wears them. And the Antifa, which isn't really Antifa, it's more like the Black Bloc. Don't confuse the two. We've already seen that pan out. We Kyle Rittenhouse executed 2 protesters and wounded another. Then we saw, I kept telling people that were like, yeah, go Kyle. I was like, this is setting up a bad precedent. And wouldn't you know, like 3 days later, a Trump supporter got shot point blank twice in Portland, and I think a leftist got killed. At first it was just tear gas and pepper spray and swinging batons at each other, but now people are pulling guns on each other. This is Trump's America. He wants to say this is Biden's America, but he's using clips from Barcelona, Spain, or the America that he's allowed to happen. I just fear that Biden's not going to focus on that and just kind of go off the fact that he's an inept moron, which is true, but you got to remember, people aren't really going to take that time to look at stuff, to look into stuff. I think Biden needs to bring to the plate, like, this guy's a moron in his press conferences. This guy totally mismanaged the nation. Like how Trump kept a ship at shore in the sea because there was a ton of confirmed cases of coronavirus. But he kept it at shore, at sea, because he wanted to artificially keep the numbers of people infected down. That's the type of person we're dealing with. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I'll talk more on other topics soon. But that's about it. And I want to thank you for taking the time out to watch this video. Until next time.